My name's Alethea. I'm a realtor at Venture Sotheby's on the Big Island of Hawaii. Welcome to my neighborhood tour. I'm here today to familiarize you with a few of my favorite areas. During our time together, I'm going to give you a quick introduction of myself. I'm going to share some key highlights about some neighborhoods on the Big Island, and we're going to focus on a few areas, South Kohala, Waimea, Kamuela, and North Kohala. I'm also going to tell you about some of the services that our team can provide and how you can get in touch. If you have any questions for me, make sure you type them in the chat, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you don't hear back from me immediately, you will definitely hear back from me by email. I'm also going to ask you a few questions so that I can help direct your future search. You'll see them pop up as I talk. Please take a moment to answer each one as best you can. The more I get to know you, the better I'll be able to help you. So here's your first one to start. Where are you living right now, and why are you thinking of moving here? I'm always curious to know where people are coming from and why they want to be here. I'll give you a second to type that in. I'm also going to be sharing some links with you today to available listings, insider tips about the island, and some more information about me and my team. So please keep a lookout for these too. All right, why don't we get started with a quick introduction? Again, my name's Alethea. I lived on the Big Island for 28 years. Even though I'm not from here, I consider myself Kama'aina at this point. Kama'aina just means long-term Hawaii resident. I got my bachelor's from UH Hilo in marine science, and then I got a master's in geography from UH Manoa. I worked in the nonprofit field for about 15 years before I got into real estate around 2015. I bought my first home on the Big Island at 18, and I have lived everywhere from Puna to Kona. However, North Hawaii is my place. I raised my son here, and I just love the Big Island. I work with another real estate powerhouse, Megan MacArthur. Together, we have 27 years of experience, and we are top producers at our firm. Megan was born and raised into a prominent Hawaii real estate family, and she has done everything from sales to management. Her breadth of knowledge is absolutely outstanding. One thing that set us apart is our genuine care for our clients' needs. We actually really want you to be happy here, and we want your move here to go smoothly. Okay, let's get started. Our island is actually called Hawaii Island, but due to the confusion with our state's name, locals and visitors alike tend to call it the Big Island. The thing is, the Big Island is called the Big Island because, well, it's huge. You can fit all the other Hawaiian islands within its borders. Most people come here for vacation and end up falling in love, but they usually don't have the time to explore enough to choose which neighborhood they want to be in. Just getting from one area to another can take 30 to 45 minutes, and you never maybe get a feel for what it's actually like to live there. Every area has pros and cons depending what kind of lifestyle you like, whether it's being close to the beach, or hiking, or even what kind of weather you prefer. We have 8 out of the 13 climate zones, and we're one of the most ecologically diverse places in the entire world. So there's a lot to choose from. Helping you find your ideal place is where my expertise comes in. I know each neighborhood that I specialize in intimately, and I can help you qualify and disqualify areas so you don't waste your time driving around and looking at properties that maybe you don't even ever want to call home. The hardest part of buying on the Big Island is often choosing where you want to be. That's where I hope to help you today. I've worked with numerous buyers and sellers, and I'd be happy to share my experience with you on how they ended up finding their dream home in partnership with me. These are just some of the things my clients have said about working with me. You can click and read more if you'd like. Before we dive into the neighborhoods I'm going to show you today, I'd love for you to tell me a little bit about your needs first. These are those questions I said I was going to ask you. So, 1, are you looking for a primary residence or a vacation home? What's your time frame to buy? Are you applying for a mortgage, or will you be buying with cash? And finally, are you already working with an agent? If you are, please send over their name in the chat. Okay, thanks for taking the time to answer my questions. Now, let's dive into the first neighborhood, South Kohala. Again, don't worry about taking notes. I'll be sharing a summary of everything with you later on. And remember, any questions you have, type them in the chat. Let's start with our resort areas on the South Kohala coast. It's a favorite of mine, having lived there mostly since 1998. I chose this area because of its ocean access, hands down. Our resorts are all on the leeward or protected side of the island, and it's hot and dry with very predictable weather. Most of our visitor activities are here, and all of our large resorts are here. It starts outside of Kona with the Four Seasons Hualalai, a name everyone recognizes. This resort is regularly one of the top Four Seasons in the nation, and it features high-end homes and condos at high price points, with the service people know and love. Heading up the coast, you come to Waikoloa Beach Resort, which features the Kings and Queens shops and the Hilton Waikoloa Village and the Marriott Resort and Spa, along with a large amount of fairly affordable condos and timeshares. Waikoloa Resort has a Neho'omalu Bay, which has a very large sandy beach, a canoe club, and a restaurant on the beach called Lava Lava Beach Club. The shops here feature the island's only luxury cinema, along with some great restaurants and shopping. Waikoloa Village is up the hill from the resort, and it's mostly a residential neighborhood that has a large new shopping center that's going in right now. Waikoloa is going to be the major West Side neighborhood within 10 years. People love Waikoloa because you have all the resorts at your fingertips, but you can also easily get to Waimea and Kona. Waikoloa is mostly residential, and the price point here has been steadily creeping up. Heading further north on the coast, you have the Mauna Lani Resort, featuring the Fairmont Orchid and the newer auberge at Mauna Lani. Mauna Lani has a mix of condos and single-family homes and has two notable beaches, one of which is private during the day only for homeowners and features one of my favorite restaurants, Napua. Continuing up the coast, you have the one-road beach community of Puako, which has no community association or rules and features single-family homes and one condo complex. That's where I lived for about 20 years. It continues to capture my heart and is still my favorite place to watch sunset. The last resort is the Mauna Kea, which has the Hapuna Westin on one side fronting Hapuna Beach and the Mauna Kea Resort on the other side, which fronts Kanaoa Bay. These are arguably two of the best beaches on the island. There are a mix of single-family homes and condos at this complex with fairly high entry points. My personal favorite in this area is walking from Hapuna Beach to Kanaoa Beach early in the morning. We have a coastal hiking trail called the Alakahakai or King's Trail that was built by the Hawaiians, and it was used to traverse the island. You can walk both beaches that are connected by this historic trail, and it's probably one of the most spectacular walks you will ever take, especially when the whales are in town. Outside of Waikoloa Village, this entire resort area features mostly second homes, lots of vacation rentals, and some of the highest price points we have on island for real estate. If you want a real Hawaii vacation vibe, this is probably the area for you. So that wraps it up for our first area, South Kohala. If it seems the kind of place you're looking for, here's a link to listings currently on the market. If you see any that you like, you can send me an inquiry from the listing, and I'll answer any questions you have, or I can even arrange a showing for you. Now let's look at our next area, Waimea. Waimea is a small upcountry town that historically hails from Hawaiian cowboys. Its legal name is Kamuela, as there was already a Waimea in our post office system, but everyone here calls it Waimea. It is based at around 2,600 foot elevation, so it has cooler temperatures and has mostly mountain views. Its main economic drivers are the Queen's North Hawaii Hospital, an astronomy center, and 3 private schools, along with a public elementary and middle school. Waimea has a wet and dry side gradient across the town. Wet side is aptly named due to its location at the back of our remote valley system, so the fog and drizzle blow from the back of the valleys over to Waimea, forming the wet side. The dry side gets much less of this moisture, and as you go down the Kauai Hill, it gets hotter and drier each mile you go. It is mostly a residential small town, and it's very quiet after 8 p.m. Waimea has the best farmers markets on island, in my opinion, and it's considered the breadbasket by many. There are markets on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and you can get everything here, from the freshest of produce to amazing meals at food trucks. My personal favorites in this area are the Waimea Butcher Shop and the Kamuela Liquor Store. The liquor store has the most incredible selection of wines that you can get on this island, with some delightful treats that you can also find only there, like fresh burrata. The butcher shop is also a delight, featuring local meat that's perfectly aged and cut, and it also has ingredients you'll only find there as well, so if you're a foodie, don't miss either of these stops. Most of the real estate in Waimea is owned by residents, and there are a lot of families whose kids go to private and public schools. The community of Waimea is all the best of a small town. People really go out of their way to help each other and participate in family fun. Upcountry Hawaii has its own vibe, more authentic living and less resort paradise life. So if you like a sleepy, cooler town with more mountain than ocean views, this is probably the place for you. So that wraps it up for Waimea. If this seems the kind of place you're looking for, here's a link to listings on the market. If you see any you like, please let me know. Now let's move to our final area, North Kohala. I love North Kohala. It's the oldest part of the island, and its cliffs and tropical environment is just incredibly beautiful. It also has a dry to wet side gradient that is not as pronounced as Waimea, but it also comes into play, and the road to Kohala ends at Pololu Valley that you can only get into by foot. Pololu Valley produces some of the same moisture that keeps Waimea wet. The road out to the North Kohala has a few scattered luxury developments that include Kohala Waterfront, Kohala by the Sea, and Kohala Ranch. Kohala Ranch is the largest and typically has the most amount of inventory. These developments are in between true North Kohala and the resorts, but they have a fairly easy commute to Waimea. It often represents a sweet spot for people moving here. There are two main towns in North Kohala proper, Hawi and Kapa'au. Both are artistic towns with sweet art galleries and small local businesses. There's also larger acreage generally up here, and it's the oldest part of the island, so it has the richest soil and a tropical growing climate with huge ocean views and seascapes. Have I mentioned how breathtakingly beautiful it is? It's also more remote, and as such, it's mostly farms and residential living. There are two private ranches on Dryside Hawi, the ranch at Puakea and Puakea Ranch, each featuring a private gated community with large homes on a minimum of 10-acre lots. The coast is mostly cliffs with a few beach parks and water entry access points. My personal favorite in this area is the hike down to Pololu. Pololu Valley is remote and raw, with a black sand beach with dramatic valley walls. There's a lot of driftwood to play on, and the stream meandering to the beach is a great place to sit and reflect. If you want a tropical feel and dream of growing some of your own food, you may love North Kohala. It's mostly residential, and outside of the few luxury developments, actual locals live here. The community is tight and friendly, and everyone knows everyone. Well, that wraps it up for North Kohala. If it seems the kind of place that you're looking for, here's a link to the listings there. All right, so we've looked at a few amazing areas on the Big Island. After hearing about their differences and their unique features, which one's your favorite? Do you think you see yourself enjoying the resort life of South Kohala? I know a Mai Tai on the beach often calls to me. Or maybe you're wanting a more family-friendly environment with the cooler temperatures and imagine Waimea could be home. Or are you dreaming of a more rural farm ranch life and you can see yourself happy in North Kohala? Now that you know more about each of these areas, let's take a moment and have you tell me what's most important for you in your search. Because no matter what you're looking for, I can help you decide on your special spot on the Big Island. I also want to share some of my recent sales to give you a sense of the kind of properties that I've helped clients and friends buy and sell. I hope you'll be able to see how much my experience will come in handy to you in your search. If you want to speak with me about buying or selling, please fill out the contact form and I'll be in touch. Now that we know more about each other, we should be able to just jump right in. Here's the summary I promised of everything we talked about today. I think that's about it. Again, my name's Alethea with Venture Sotheby's on the Big Island. Thanks again for taking the time to tour with me today. I hope to meet you very soon. Mahalo.